Let me ask you guys a question. Do you remember who was arguably the best solo queue jungle at the very end of Season 6? That's right, Nunu. This son of a bitch terrorized solo queue for players who forgot to pick or ban him right as the season was coming to a close. It started in patch 6.20 when he got a buff on his Q that allowed him to stack a max health and movement speed bonus, along with a couple other tweaks, buffs for the slow on his ultimate and whatnot. All these changes caused his popularity, or at least his win ratio, to skyrocket from slightly over 50% to a whopping 56% win ratio. The constant slows, annoying dancing, and unkillable tankiness of Nunu was more prevalent than ever right until the very end of the season, where in patch 6.22, the preseason patch, as a precursor to Season 7, Riot reworked the jungle again. Part of the rework included adjusting the number of jungle creeps per camp, adding 2 chickens to the chicken camp, as well as splitting the Krugs a million times when you kill them. This change ended up hurting a lot of junglers who focus a large amount of their power into single abilities, like Fiddlesticks and his Drain are pretty bad right now. He can't clear the jungle quickly or efficiently, having to always wait for Drain to come back up, and I suspect all the power in Nunu's Consume is one of the reasons that he's fallen out of favor slightly in terms of his popularity and why his win ratio has dipped a bit since. But I think Nunu is an interesting champion to discuss. Have you ever thought about the fact that Nunu has, historically speaking, been one of the most annoying jungles in the game, who feels 100% ban worthy if he's in meta? His constant counter jungling, insane perma slow, and just how difficult he feels to lock down and kill sometimes can make your life a living hell. Yet despite this, he's never really been a champion that deals damage. There is that odd build that involves going Tiamat and utilizing his attack speed bonus for some crazy auto attacks, and of course AP Nunu is always a fun thing to mess around with, but those builds are more goofy, fun things to do in normal games, not what you see as his standard core build in ranked. Typically speaking, the standard build for Nunu is just full tank, and he deals little to no damage because of it. This is strange for League of Legends. Think about the popular tanks that have risen to meta in the past year. Think about all the Sunfire Iceborne tanks, Sunfire Iceborne Echo top lane. These are champions that aren't only good because they take no damage, but they deal quite a bit of damage while simultaneously taking no damage. Even the modern tanks you see top lane nowadays, like Poppy, are strong, generally speaking, because their tankiness actually gives them kill potential while they're taking 0 damage from your abilities. Even though they deal a little less damage than the average bruiser top lane, they don't have to worry about dying, so they can spend all day whacking you until you're dead. The idea of a champion who's nothing but a bullet sponge plus maybe some CC is a pretty foreign concept to League, and most champions who fall into this category are pretty bad because of it. Think about Nautilus. For a really long time, he was nothing but a tank with a ton of CC, and he was very rarely played until he started coming into popularity when his E started dealing a ton of damage and his W auto attacks dealt a lot to people top lane. If you have a champion who's nothing but a pure tank with fancy utility, you're not a viable champion traditionally speaking. However, that's exactly what Nunu is, and that's what's garnered him a pretty bad reputation as a useless champion at times. General Oddone was once quoted as saying, "The point of playing Nunu is to make the enemy jungle more useless than you are." That's just how little damage he puts out and how impossible it is to carry with him in the traditional take all the kills kind of way. At first glance, he's a champion whose playstyle revolves around exactly what Oddone says, trying to counter jungle enough to a point where you make the enemy jungle more useless than you are. However, I think Nunu actually has some real carry potential in a different kind of playstyle. League of Legends has been taking more and more of a turn in more recent years as being a game that's more about team play than anything else. That sounds all well and good in theory, a team game being about teamwork, coming together and all that jazz, but in practice it sucks a lot of the time. A popular scenario that you find yourself in solo queue involves you trying to corral your teammates together, hoping that nobody wanders around and gets picked off, because it's not really about one player trying to carry the game anymore. It's about having people not get caught out on their own and lose you the game. When you take away the potential for one really good player to go out and solo carry a game, you're distributing that responsibility amongst every other player on the team, giving plenty of it to the worst player on the team. And so the best player out there isn't trying to go and get a pentakill most of the time. That player is now on babysitting duty, trying to prevent his teammates from getting caught out, picked off, and dying. In this area, Nunu works exceptionally well when you think about how his abilities work. He has a pretty heavy perma perma-slow with his E that slows enemy attack speed as well. It can make someone chasing after one of your teammates absolutely infuriated. It's almost as bad as a Nasus Wither. His W is a great movement speed buff for his teammates to try and get away or position well, again letting people have more room for error and giving him a chance to help his teammates correct their mistakes. But the real icing on the cake is his ultimate, which has this massive slow that can threaten a fair amount of damage if you get the full channel off, which ends up drawing a lot of attention to him and away from his teammates. Even if you don't get this ability off in a fight, you're threatening that damage and forcing your opponents to blow crowd control or at least run away from you or flash out of it. He deals no damage and has virtually zero chance of helping his team carry in the traditional sense, but when you think about carrying your team in the sense that Riot has sort of forced you to in recent years, babysitting players and helping them out when they get caught out or out of position or something, Nunu is actually one of the best jungles you can play right now. He's a bit unpopular at the moment because of reasons we explained at the start of the video, but the qualities still hold true to his gameplay 100%. If you're looking for a champion that you can get some freelo with whenever you're stuck in your off roll, I would highly suggest you try out this king of carrying. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed watching today's video. I'll see you all tomorrow, but until then, thank you very much for watching. Good luck in solo queue, and have a wonderful day.